KY3 News continues.
Good morning. We're starting off with a bit more humidity today in the Ozarks.
Here's Brandon with the updated heat advisory and the sissy cold front coming, Brandon. Is that what you're calling it?
Okay. Yeah, heat advisory. This has been expanded just a little bit. Pulaski, Laclede, Greene, Lawrence, and McDonald County added to this, and then it covers everybody else in our viewing area. It has been trimmed away from central Missouri, north of, let's say, Clinton and into Kansas City, because you have a better chance for a few storms. That's going to keep it a little cooler. Here's the hour-by-hour forecast in Springfield. I think it's spot on. 88. About lunchtime, that's what we were yesterday. We're going to end up around 92, perhaps just a little over for some spots, but it's that heat index. And here's where I think Futurecast is out to lunch. It's going to be hotter than that. We're talking triple digits for a lot of spots, 105 plus for a few of you, and a few storms. The chance gets a little better tonight. I'll show you that cold front when I come back in just a bit.
Happening now, a manhunt in McDonald County for two inmates who escaped through an air conditioning duct.
Jailers discovered John Weeks and Christopher Walker there, missing during dinner check last night. Investigators say they crawled through that ductwork into a new construction area. Weeks landed in jail for assaulting an officer and resisting arrest. Meantime, Walker is serving time for resisting arrest. Now, the sheriff says the pair could be driving a 2006 silver Dodge Caravan. It has an Oklahoma license plate, 073 DLV. These two are considered dangerous. Call 911 if you see them. A former youth basketball coach will be arraigned this morning. Brian Holt is charged with sexually abusing a teenager on his team. It allegedly happened more than 100 times over 2 years. That abuse reportedly started in 2013. Holt coached a youth basketball league team in the Sparta area.
A jury will decide the case of a former Mountain Grove teacher charged with more than a dozen sexual offenses. David Long is accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. Police say after they started their investigation, Long threatened that student. Long started working as Mountain Grove's junior ROTC instructor in 2007. His trial starts in February. A Springfield woman says she got attacked in a park for being transgender, and cameras caught the fight.
KY3's Paula Morehouse explains what happened moments before the attack.
A brawl caught on camera at Silver Springs Park, and this is how Bree Holloman looked by the end. A black eye and scraped knees and elbow. She said she only went there to watch.
I feel like I shouldn't even showed up, but at the same time, I didn't want to fight, and why would they fight me?
Holloman says she was standing there as a spectator. Holloman takes a punch right to her face. She then takes off running until another man catches up with her, drags her down and across the road. More blows to her head. Holloman says they attacked her because she's transgender.
They want to beat me up because it's like very hard for them to fathom that I am a woman, but they still think I'm a man.
This was the second time in a year Holloman says she was beaten up because of her gender identity. After Monday's incident, she landed in the hospital. Aside from her physical injuries, Holloman says she has emotional ones as well.
I'm tired of feeling like I can't be who I am and walk around. I really don't feel safe in Springfield. I don't feel safe here. I'm trying to move away.
Police say it's just too early in the investigation to determine if gender identity did play a role in that attack.
A St. Louis firefighter died this week after suffering injuries battling a house fire. Captain John Kemper was one of 4 firefighters injured during the overnight blaze July 5th. The 24-year veteran suffered a shoulder injury, but doctors discovered other issues and moved Kemper to the ICU. The department did not disclose his exact cause of death. Nearly 3 years after protests and riots, Ferguson's police chief says new software will help rebuild trust in the community.
The police department is the first in the St. Louis area to use that software.
We're going to work as hard as we can to bring the nobility back to policing.
Ferguson Police Chief Delrish Moss is determined to improve the image of officers in his department. And he's getting help from a Florida tech company called Lefta Systems.
They believe in what's happened to Ferguson. I mean, across the nation, people have criticized.
Lefta Systems is donating software to Ferguson PD to help with accountable policing. The new tech applications will help assess new hires, monitor use of force, even track bias policing using statistical data from officer encounters.
It's going to be a huge benefit in terms of making sure that we can monitor ourselves and take corrective action where it's necessary.
With discrimination, unfortunately, we all have to admit it exists. Now what do you do about it?
Greater Grace Church pastor Bishop Larry Jones believes progress has been made in terms of fair treatment since Moss became chief in May of 2016. But he thinks more must still be done.
This city has a resiliency about it. It wants to move forward.
Have we gotten where we need to be? No. On the road to Damascus, there is a travel, there's a journey. And so we're working very hard to get where people expect us to be.
The department just started using that $100,000 software yesterday.
A Kansas City news chopper spotted a 3-year-old girl alone in a stolen vehicle. Police say 2 people took off in the car when her father went inside a gas station. They later ditched the vehicle on a road. You can see her there. At the time, she was sound asleep. The helicopter pilot spotted the vehicle, called 911. The girl has been reunited with her parents. The suspects, though, still on the run. Here's an easy way to give back by just drinking your morning coffee.
Kate Alt drinks in the details on a new local business with big plans of brewing. Kate.
Well, almost all of us start the morning with a big old cup of coffee, and that's how Eric Hadley, a veteran, thought of the idea for Got Your Six coffee. The logo on Got Your Six is an octopus because the company reaches out to 8 different branches of service, from EMTs to the Coast Guard, to help give back. Right now, the company has chosen nonprofits across the country to work alongside. All of them help veterans and service members in some way. One of those is Pieces of Home here in Springfield, who sends care packages out to deployed troops. Eric chose those 8 groups because he felt like all of them deserve support from their community.
They put themselves in danger to protect us, and you may not like them or you may have a bad opinion about them, but at the end of the day, they're there helping you.
Got Your Six coffee doesn't have a shop of its own yet, but you can buy their 7 brews online. They got the Red Line, Blue Line, and Zero Dark 30, which is what we're drinking this morning. A store as well as a nonprofit of his own is in Eric's plans for the very near future. Maria.
Thank you, Kate. In a few hours, we'll know more about future plans for the Shepherd of the Hills outdoor drama in Branson. The attraction closed in May due to a slump in attendance. We learned in June the property had new owners for the drama, Inspiration Tower, and Old Matt's Cabin here. We'll have a crew at the news conference, which starts at 11 o'clock this morning.
Coming up, detecting pancreatic cancer sooner, the new test that could save thousands of lives.
Time now is 6:38. Brandon's next with the counties added to the heat advisory today and our best chance for rain this week. We learned how to cure a penguin's hiccups at this week's story break at the Fairgrove Library with a good scare. Turns out penguins can't eat spicy food. Did you know that?
I did
They
not.
get the hiccups. We also read The Whale in My Swimming Pool and Ragweed's Farm Dog Handbook, which was really about a dog tricking the farmer to get extra treats. Thanks to the Fairgrove Library for another fun story break. Next up, Abby Dyer. You can catch her story break in Bolivar on Tuesday at 1:15.
Oh, fun.
How about that?
It was super fun. I hear you have a treat for us this morning.
Are we tricking you into giving us a treat?
Absolutely not. No, do you remember back in November we talked, and you may or may not, but NOAA launched a new satellite, and this is super cool. Now,
I was
admittedly,
hoping for brownies, Brandon.
Yeah,
I'll bake you some later.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
This is brand new satellite imagery, and
cool.
you may be thinking, okay, what's the big deal? Well, first off, it's got 4 times the resolution, and instead of getting an image every 15 minutes, we can get them every 5 minutes. That's what this is, and in special mode, they can actually do every 1 minute, which is kind of like watching stuff happen in real time. That's what it will be in severe weather mode, for instance. I can actually see what you're doing in your backyard. Okay, that's not all. That's just silly. But we have a lot of cloud cover to the north. This is on the north edge of that ridge of high pressure, and that rotates clockwise, which is why these clouds are rolling back south, and they are impacting parts of the Ozarks. You'll notice there's some cloud cover out there this morning. It's going to thin out, all right? We're going to see a lot of sunshine again, but as it is now, we still got some clouds up on our north side, and there are thunderstorms, of course, underneath all of this, and some of them still producing some pretty big rain. Interestingly, parts of Iowa yesterday had 8+ inches of rain. They just kind of sit there and they dump quite a bit of water. Well, in this case, these are going to thin out, but we do have a chance for a couple of storms later on today. Our best chance is going to be tonight and especially tomorrow as a cold front comes in. Temps this morning on our weather watchers: Kimberling City, Hartville, Theodosia, all 73, 75 at Mountain Home and down in Harrison, and then 72 in Cross Timbers. Around the region, 77 down in Harrison at the airport now, 79 over in Joplin. Good grief. It's going to be a warm day yet again. Sunshine with a few high clouds in Springfield. They're starting to thin out, and that trend will continue. We've got a south wind at 6 miles an hour. It will not be much stronger than that for most of the day. So we're going to subtract a bit of wind. We're going to add a little bit of humidity. You get where I'm going with this. Heat advisory has been expanded for Springfield, also up in Lebanon, Laclede County, Pulaski County, Fort Wood, Mount Vernon, and then down in the southwest corner of Missouri around Anderson. Now, as far as the rest of the day goes, I think it's just going to be hot. This front's going to just crawl to the south. A couple of pop-ups again this afternoon, but most of the activity is going to be associated with that front, and there's a little bit of an upper disturbance coming across Kansas. So the two will combine with all that humidity to produce thunderstorms tonight, some of which may affect central Missouri. And then during the day, watch this, as the front sags south, kaboom! Now, I don't think it's going to rain everywhere necessarily, but if we can get a storm where you live, it's going to be a whole lot cooler than today. It's a tricky temp forecast because those who don't get storms could still be up near 90. The front may not actually make it all the way through before it sort of washes out, so to speak, but it will provide some very limited relief. Now, high temperatures today are not going to be much different than yesterday. Most of us low 90s. Harrison, by the way, hit 92 yesterday, hottest day of the summer so far. I think you'll do it again today. Central Missouri, north of Springfield, well, Camdenton yesterday, 95. That could happen again today, and just real isolated storms. Now, tonight, central Missouri has the best chance of any thunderstorms, lows in the 70s again, and then widely scattered to numerous thunderstorms expected along that front tomorrow. Now, I could be shooting too high with 87. It's going to vary a lot, anywhere from low 80s, maybe even 70s under the storms. But Saturday, a couple of storms left over, 88, and guess what? That's your break. Sunday, we're back to 92, and it looks hot and humid again most of next week.
All right, time now is 6:44. Keeping your dog safe from a common illness.
The symptoms of canine flu and the threat to cats. Next.
In health news at 6:47, many of us get a flu shot each year to stay healthy, but you could be overlooking a member of your family who needs one too.
Eddie Garcia gives us the common symptoms of dog flu and which pets are most at risk.
Canine flu cases are on the rise nationally. Dr. Denoy Salas explains.
It is a highly contagious virus that can be spread from dog to dog. It can even be spread from dog to cat.
Dr. Salas says most of the symptoms are respiratory.
Coughing, sneezing, sometimes they'll develop a fever or may feel lethargic or not want to eat their food.
And canine flu can lead to complications.
The young dogs, the elderly dogs, or those that are already immunocompromised can develop pneumonia. On occasion, it can lead to death. But most dogs that develop the symptoms or become infected will recover from it.
So where can a dog get it? Almost anywhere.
Dog parks, kennels, boarding facilities, grooming facilities, anywhere that there's a large number of dogs that come together can easily be spread.
You don't have to avoid all of those places. Dr. Salas says most veterinarians carry a flu vaccine that you can request at any time.
A new blood test could lead to earlier detection of pancreatic cancer. University of Pennsylvania scientists developed the test. They correctly identified pancreatic cancer in patients at different stages of the disease. Experts hope the test can now be used for high-risk patients and for those with a family history of the illness.
A new study shows breastfeeding could lower a woman's risk of multiple sclerosis. Researchers found moms who breastfed their babies for at least 15 months are less likely to develop MS than those who nursed for less than 4 months. Women 15 or older when they started menstruation also had a lower risk. The study revealed the number of years a woman ovulated, the number of pregnancies, and the use of birth control pills did not affect the risk of multiple sclerosis.
Snorting chocolate is apparently a thing. Started in Europe and now it's arrived in the U.S. The snortable chocolate powder is marketed as a stimulant and somehow at the same time a stress reducer. Figure that one out. The product is intended for people 18 years old and older. It contains mostly raw cocoa powder along with common energy drink ingredients. But doctors say snorting this product, well, here's the warning. It could cause harm to your lungs. And while the sale of Coco Loco is legal, Senator Charles Schumer is urging the FDA to launch a safety investigation. Stay tuned.
Time now 6:50. A surprise wake-up call from a big intruder.
The reality is that lions are in this area. One of them's been in town.
The crazy series of events that put a big cat in a woman's bed.
And now, your KY3 Storm Team forecast.
Happy traveling today. No huge problem spots. It's really more about heat than it is anything else. But there are storms northern Missouri this morning, a few showers around Kansas City, which is going to be a blessing for them. It's been very hot, a little cooler for them today. Chicago on the other side of a front, they're only looking at 80s. And as far as severe weather goes, it has been and will be again today far north of the Ozarks. Hot and dry out the southwest. That's typical for them. Denver about 85 today, mid-90s in Dallas, low to mid-90s in the Ozarks. In fact, right around our region. Best chance of storms, Kansas City today, still low 90s, approaching 100 in Wichita, about the same down in Tulsa, and a few storms from Memphis to Little Rock and St. Louis, but still low to mid-90s.
A 15-year-old Iowa girl is accused of shooting and killing her mother on Saturday. Then police say she tried to burn down the house to cover up the crime. The 15-year-old is being held in juvenile jail. Her next court appearance scheduled for August 8th.
Texas authorities are investigating a woman's death at an assisted living facility. Authorities say she was missing for several hours on Tuesday. Workers found her body in a van parked outside the facility. The company called it a tragic accident and offered condolences to the woman's family and friends. From wrestler to hero in a split second.
A 12-year-old saw a lifeless-looking toddler floating in the water, dove in to help out. 12-year-old Braden Armstrong checked into a Michigan Days Inn for a nearby wrestling camp. When he walked out to the pool to grab the rest of his clothes, Braden says he saw a 3-year-old boy face down in the water. That child didn't seem to be moving, so Braden jumped in the water to save him.
I was standing there for a second, like thinking, well, maybe he's going to get up, like he was just messing around in the pool, and then I realized that he wasn't getting up, so I jumped in and grabbed him.
Emergency crews took the child to the hospital, and the boy is expected to be okay. Police say the toddler wandered away from his parents and slipped on the steps of that pool.
A crazy intruder in California caught on camera. A mountain lion crashed through a window and landed on a woman sound asleep. Security video shows this young mountain lion darting in front of a pickup truck first. It then slams into a bowling alley door before running into the parking lot of this apartment complex. That's when it came smashing through the woman's window. Somehow she stayed calm and opened the back door here of her apartment to let out the mountain lion.
She was asleep and it landed on her bed, and actually at first I think she said she thought that she was dreaming. It didn't seem real.
Yeah, the woman wasn't hurt. Here's another look at it. Wildlife officials say mountain lion sightings are becoming more common, and they're trying to come up with solutions to relocate them.
Time now is 6:54. The special event President Trump will attend today in Paris.
Plus the updated heat advisory today and chance for storms tonight.